What's up, Jennie Wright?
Hello.
So good to have you here. Okay, guys, welcome to Group Coach Nation, the live show, and we're here to do Q&A as usual. But as you guys know, we bring a lot of experts into our conversations because, quite frankly, you all shouldn't be good at everything. I'm sure not. I'm really good at building high-ticket masterminds. I pretty much suck at everything else, like for real. We outsource, like Jennie, I don't know about you, but our team, we outsource like 90% of the work that we do. Do you do that too? Like, I can't do it all.
I did the whole, I did all of it. I did the whole shebang for so long. I can do all of it. I don't want to do it anymore. But yeah, I outsource.
No.
I outsource so much now.
I don't have space for that, right?
No,
Oh my gosh.
I don't.
Yeah. And our team needs to be good at a few things. Anyway, okay, we should talk delegation and all that stuff in the day. But for now, let's talk list builds. Now,
Okay.
Jennie, this is something I'm really bad at. We have a list at Group Coach Nation. Every business does, right? But like for the first, first 2 years of running our mastermind and all the stuff we've done, I didn't even collect anyone's email addresses. Even people joined our Facebook group, let's say. I never collected a single email. The only email addresses we ever collected were by accident because people would book Zoom calls. And so the scheduling app would gather email addresses for reminders. Hey, look, Jennie, right? You're talking to us.
I am.
Love it. Isn't that cool?
Yep, I'm multitasking.
Hey, everyone. So it's like really hard for us to generate. It's not hard. We just have been horrible at it. And now that we have a list that's pretty significant, I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? And here's another thing I hear a lot. If you're just beginning like I was years ago, start building a list. We'll talk about that. If you're a pro and you're like crushing this thing and you're like not quite sure how to segment your list, what the value of your list is, or how to really bump your list because you're going to burn your list out if you keep offering the same crowd, how to really bump that list, like that's what we're here to talk about. How to do it right. Don't get caught in the weeds. Let's just like build the right list, because when you're launching, and by the way, Jennie, you have an event coming up all about like launching the right way soon. And I'm speaking on that. Thank you. Oh my gosh, super excited.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you're there. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you're going to be an expert. You're bringing a whole different level to this thing.
Yeah, your event is hinging on me showing whatever. So like I don't know how to do this stuff well. So can we talk like how to build the right list? What's a crap list? What's a legit list?
Yeah.
Do we buy lists? Do we just journey over time? Should we make a big event or run traffic or pay for a list with ads? Like how does like untangle the mess?
All right. Yeah. So this is a cobweb of, there's a bad word in there, but it's a whole shebang. The same rules apply whether or not you're a beginner or you're more advanced. The only thing that changes is the scale and the availability of having more things that you can do, right? So when you're just starting out, you're starting with a free list building software, you're just trying to grow the list. And then when you're like 6 or 7 figures in your business, you're still trying to grow the list, but now you're using some different tools. That's all good. Never buy a list. That's step number 1. First of all, it's really bad form, but secondly, it can be incredibly negative for what you're doing. So if you buy a list and then you try and email that list, they don't know who you are or where you're coming from. Do you know how you feel when you get like those really nasty spam calls and you're like, how did you people get my phone number? Or emails that are unsolicited? I mean, I don't have air ducts, but everybody who calls me thinks I have air ducts and they want to sell me air duct, like cleaning. Come on. It's insane. So, and I get those calls regularly. Well, that's the same principle of buying a list, because if you buy one and you try and email them, they're going to go, who the heck is Jennie Wright? Like, I have no idea who this person is. Unsubscribe. And they'll also put a spam comment saying, I never agreed to be on this list, which you'll see it when you're trying to unsubscribe from pretty much every list. The result of that is if you have enough of those spam comments, you're going to get flagged in your email marketing provider, and they may blacklist you, meaning they may suspend your account, close your account, all these kinds of things, because if they get enough spam comments, they, like the email service provider, email marketing provider, they will end up having problems with their servers because they will get a lower server deliverability and all sorts of different things in the back end. So it actually affects them really poorly. So they will put that on you and say, I'm sorry, but you have no more access. I've had people do this and they have no more access to their list. Ooh. Don't do it. So step 1, don't buy a list. The list we want to build, it doesn't matter to me if you put ads at it or if you use organic, but I think that people should be using both. I think when you're starting out, we're going to use organic almost exclusively because, quite honestly, you can't really build a lookalike audience. You can't really retarget if you don't have anybody to do that to, right? So, but as you build, one of my clients has a list of 46,000 registrants. We're using a website click campaign right now to get them to register for a summit that I'm producing for this client.
Yeah.
And as a result, we're getting 18 cents per click, which is great on Facebook ads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but this person has 46,000 people on their list and they spent time building it. If you're brand spanking new, you may not get 18 cents per click, first of all, because you have, it's really hard to target in on some of those things and you might pay more. So the rules slightly differ. But let's talk about building a robust list. You're always going to build a more robust list from organic. You're always going to build a more robust list by being incredibly niched in, meaning just like Chris is going to be on my upcoming summit, right? That is warm traffic, meaning that there's Chris and 20 other experts all promoting to their warm traffic areas, their platforms. Therefore, more people will opt in on warm traffic and Chris has more of a chance of getting registrations, right? There's all of these different parameters. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It's funny how all this always comes back to, and this is so foreign to me, by the way, when it comes to lists. It all comes back to relationships. Like you're just making relational connections with me being in your platform, you being on my platform. We're building lists together in a sense. But for some reason, when I flip the switch to go to, I need to think about my list and plan my list, I take the relational thing away and think, no, this is just a numbers game in a CRM with an email sequence. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that can be part of the strategy. But, I see that so often with people who are learning to build a mastermind. They forget how relational things are and how easy it is when you do it relationally. But when it's in my own business, I'm so blind to my own problems. And I go back and I'm like, my list. And I turn into a robot all of a sudden. And I don't think relationally. Mm-hmm. How do you keep your list? For those of us who have larger lists now, because we've been doing it a while, how do you keep relational feelings and realities in a list when if you got 100,000 people on your list, nobody thinks you're actually typing them a direct email? How do you make it real and make it not seem like a big machine?
There's a couple ways. One, if you're not writing the email and somebody on your team is, then that person needs to be able to ghostwrite in your voice. I used to ghostwrite myself for CEOs of Fortune 500s, and I used to write speeches for, BNN and CNN and stuff like that for them. You have to you have to use their lingo. You have to look at the way they modulate their voice practically. The best thing that you can do is do a voice recording of whatever it is that you want to say and send it to your VA or your ghostwriter, whoever's going to write these things, so they can use some of the phrasing that you're actually saying. That is one of the best parts. Those people.
That's actually a really brilliant tip. I've never thought of that. Absolutely.
So voice dictate. I voice dictate all the time. So I write my own emails, but that's because I insist on having that connection and things like that. And honestly, they don't have to be long and et cetera like that. But other types of emails that have to be written for other things, I voice dictate.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because it creates that familiarity in your voice of the way things are, right? So voice dictate, your VA can load it to otter.ai. Your VA or ghostwriter can then just tidy up the transcription, add in any links, things like that, and you still have a very natural sounding email. That is key. I really recommend that no matter how big you get, you still have that really natural inclusivity in the way that you speak and the way that you communicate. It doesn't matter where the audience has come from. Mm-hmm. There should always be that they came to you for a reason. They found you on a podcast. They saw you on a summit. They saw you wherever. They signed up for your webinar. Yeah. And they still want more of you, Chris. They don't want the robot or the pre-formatted or the, yes, I just put a check in a checkbox because my copywriter wrote the thing.
That is so true.
So
yeah, that's so true.
Maintain that. I mean, there's certain things that I believe in complete delegation, like off my plate completely. I trust you 100%, make it happen. Thank you very much. And I will pay you for that service. But there are certain things that I will tell people, this is the high touch that needs to happen.
That's brilliant. By the way, what's up? What's up, everybody? Good to see you all. Ask your questions live if you want to. I'm asking
Yeah.
questions that have piled up in our Facebook and YouTube and Instagram chats, like about these topics, and I'm asking for my own benefit because I'm like, again, the worst at this. So if you have questions live, well, you got Jennie here, ask her.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so Jennie, the list thing. So what's the right way, or is there a right way, or is there just a selection of ways or more methodology? Like, how do you build the list the right way? So if I'm, and then timeline too. So we launch mastermind groups
Mhm.
3 times a year. We do 2 groups in the spring, 1 group in the fall. Okay.
Okay.
If I'm like launching some big event or opening up a new group next spring, let's say,
Mhm.
when do I need to start list building? Is it something you can like get ahead of in 30 days, or do you need to be like 6 months lead time on this thing to actually make an impact?
The bigger you are, the larger the runway you should create.
Okay.
Okay. So, and the more time that you have the availability to do this, and the more team that you have the availability to do this. So, one of the things on my event that you're talking on, which is all about launches, one of the things that we talk about is runway. And the runway is the sequence of events that takes place prior to the cart opening, right?
Mhm.
So if you think of a launch, it is cart open, cart close, and then deliver, right? Same thing for your mastermind: cart
Yeah.
open, cart close, deliver. The sequence that happens before that is called the runway. And the runway includes building up your list, building up your engagement, in addition to getting people curious about what it is that you're going to be offering, and overcoming objections. So in the 6 to 7 weeks, I like actually doing, the
Mhm.
bigger you are, the more time you need. So I like myself about a 7-week runway.
Mhm.
Okay. And in that, I'm overcoming objections for the thing that I'm going to be launching. And I'm overcoming them in my live streams. I'm telling people, like, you know what, the biggest misnomer about building a list is that it takes X amount of work and time and blah, 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 when actually it only is this. So I'm
Sure.
overcoming the objection to building a list before I talk about my list building product, right? So
Okay.
that 6 weeks is key. If you don't do this, let's just say you're like, Jennie, I don't want to do a 6-week runway. What the heck is wrong with you? I don't have the time, the patience, or the energy for that. And it sounds really boring. Then here's what's going to happen. Here's the consequence of that. If you don't do that and you're just like tickety-boo, normal, whatever it is that you're doing on social, which may be nothing if
Mhm.
that's your way of doing it, when it comes time to launch, you're going to go from 0 to 100 on your social media, on your email list, and everything. And what's going to happen is your audience is going to feel whiplash.
Mhm.
They're used to hearing from you at a certain interval. And if that interval goes crazy the other way, they're going to, in their head, they're going to say, too much too soon, thank you, but no.
Yeah.
And they will tune out. So they'll get that, you can use any euphemism you want. They'll get snow blindness, they'll get overwhelmed, whatever it is, and they'll start to tune you out. Only the key people, the fanatics, your fans, your raving fans, will actually key in on this, and they'll
Mhm.
be fine with it. But the people that you're actually trying to convince, because your raving fans are already going to say yes,
Yeah.
the people, the segment of your audience that you actually want to
Which is the
encourage.
bulk of your list. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's probably about 65% of your list, just as an aside.
Mhm.
Those people need to have that convincing. And again, if you go from 0 to like hyperspace on these people, it's going to feel way too much. So the runway is important.
Okay, that's helpful on the runway and some steps in the middle. And I love everybody like listening to what Jennie's saying right now is so real, because she didn't just say, "Oh, it's so easy, follow these 3 steps and it happens overnight." People who say that are lying to you. So thanks for being honest, Jennie. It's work. You want results, do the work. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you.
Um,
Absolutely.
okay, so what's the right or wrong way to build this list? Like, just people who organically show up in your world and join your Facebook group or your LinkedIn profile, or is there like a no?
There's a
Yeah,
there's a multi-pronged strategy that I would recommend.
yeah,
And again, as you get bigger, you get to add more things, right? So don't think that as a brand new person that you need to have 6 different ways for people to get into your world. Start with 2 and work your way up, right? Because
that
that's
is a
going to
big
be
deal, because most of us never start because it sounds overwhelming.
incredibly. Absolutely. So the
Yeah.
2 things you need to start with, these are like the must-haves, right? Is a way to opt into your email from your website.
Mhm.
You can, if you want to be, easy peasy on it, just say register for my newsletter or sign up for my newsletter, which I don't recommend, but if you have to, go for it.
Yeah.
The other way is to have a high value or high perceived value freebie in return for an email address. And this is not a 3-page checklist. This is not a 5-page ebook. This is something that is a little bit more substantial that solves a small p problem, right? So you, as a coach, course creator, whatever, solve a big P problem. You teach, like Chris, you teach people how to build high ticket, high level masterminds. That's a big P problem. It solves problems of income. It solves problems of, clients, et cetera, et cetera. You've got a whole list. The small P problem that you could overcome is, do you not think that, 5 things that I can prove to you will mean that you can run a high level mastermind, or 5 ways you can get ready for your first high level mastermind. That would be a great.
That's a good title. I'm going to go back and I'm going to steal your title. I was
absolutely go for it. You can have it. You can swipe that all day long. So, and people love numbers, right? And funny enough, odd numbers resonate well. So like 7 ways to blah, 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 but 5 ways to get ready for your next high level mastermind, or the 5 things you need to know before you launch your high level mastermind. Mm-hmm. That would be a great freebie. And then off the back end, you could have your nurture sequence. And your nurture sequence being a series of emails. I recommend about 7 to 11 emails that indoctrinate people into who you are and what you do, help people get to know you, and also make timely offers. Mm-hmm. Right? So that is a good way. Those are the 2 things, right? So get on your email list off of your website, must have. Secondly, getting a freebie out there. And the freebie doesn't have to be built on your website. It's incredibly important that this thing will look and feel really good. This is where, if you are really crappy at design, go to Upwork, hire a designer. If you have a designer, great, use them. And again, even if you are a great designer, try not to spend your time in design. This is a great place to start learning how to delegate, so you don't have to do it. So those are the 2 first things. Now, if you're bigger and you have the availability.
Can I pause you for just a second?
Yeah.
Okay. So 1, launch your freaking website, get your brand out there, do whatever you got to do. If you just got to have an email sign up, like if it means, I'm just kind of reframing what you're saying, so I can make sure I get it right. If it means that you're not going to launch your website because you just can't figure out what your thing should be to get an email, launch your website. If you're a beginner, have a newsletter sign up, just get it over with. Hit go. Get a perceived high value, and legit high value, like actually give some real stuff for exchange for an email. Get people on your list. Then you got them on the list. Have a 7 to 11 step email process that nurtures, builds a relationship, and makes a timely offer. Mm-hmm. Do you cover that more in detail in your upcoming event?
I do, actually. Okay. Right. It'll be completely covered. All of that will be,
good, because there's a lot there. Like, oh my gosh, how do I format an email? How do I? Okay, good. All right. So now go back to, if you're already a bigger coach, bigger author, consultant, whatever, and you already have a bigger audience, go down that path. Okay.
So get those 2 first done. I don't care where you are in your journey, get those 2 done. The next thing that you can do is create a specific list build event. Okay. So this for you could be launching a podcast. Or, and I like this better, creating what I call a list injection. And a list injection is a timely event that happens. You can do these once or twice a year, and they inject your list with brand new registrants, people who are niche in, who get what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. This could be a 5-day challenge, a series of webinars, not just one, I'm talking 3 webinars, or, and this is the best one, a summit. Okay. Mm-hmm. So 5-day challenge. 5-day challenge is amazing because it'll pull in several hundred people, hopefully, into your list, and it creates a lot of connection, and you can sell off the back end. Mm-hmm. Webinars are teaching tools, and they tend to be a 1-way conversation, but you can make them a 2-way conversation, teach them more like workshops, which is great. And then you can make an offer, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. And then number 3 is a summit. And a summit's like the Mac Daddy of list builds. It's the one that can pull in. One of my clients that I'm producing their summit right now, we have over 4,000 registrants. We have 1 week of promo to go. So you can pull in thousands of people into that.
That's a lot of new people. That's great.
Super great. I love this question. Should you make an offer inside the indoctrination email sequence? I'm going to answer that because I think it's a perfect question.
Yeah.
Excellent question. And yes, you can make an offer, but you can't make it in the first email. If I just met you, and you were interested in me as a person, kind of thing, you're not going to say, hey, let's go on vacation together next week.
A little creepy, a
little weird. But I would love to get to know you and why what was your upbringing like? What was it like in your family? Like, talk to me about your life. And funny enough, your indoctrination email sequence is literally making friends fast. Huh. So the first email in indoctrination sequence is, here's what to expect from me. Literally the subject line. Here's what to expect from being on my list.
Yeah, you just signed up for the list. Here's what's coming.
Here's what's coming. I'm going to email you once a week. I'm going to share ABC, XYZ. I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to dispel the myths of whatever, 1, 2, 3. And I'm also going to share, I'm going to share a couple more emails with you where I'm going to share 3 really great tips. Stay tuned. Look for the next email with the title of, and then put the title, whatever that next email is, because that creates anticipation, right? And then follow through with those 3 great things. By the way, those 3 things could be listen to this podcast, watch this replay of this webinar, and join my next masterclass, things like that. So offers, yes, indoctrinate first. My usual offer comes out in about email number 4, and it's a gentle offer. Book a call with me. Check out this thing. Hey, I'm launching this brand new such and such. It's only $27, right? So we're not looking for huge, massive, transformational like purchase happening. We're looking for incremental things. So that's a good thing. But back over to sorry, go ahead.
Oh, by the way, JL, good to see you, buddy. Hey man, good to have you here, bud. Great questions. Got it, coach. This is the JL, the anti-guru asking. I love how you do things, JL. It's so cool.
You're fine. You're good. Awesome.
Okay.
It's good to meet you.
Yeah, I can't spell either. I was just telling Jenny before we jumped on this. I was like, Jenny, I can't spell. Okay. So go back. Yeah, back to then the people who have like you're going down the summit path.
Yeah. So again, 5-day challenge. Webinar series, awesome, create connection. But like we were saying, the summit is the primo online list building event that you can create that's going to give you the big list injection. And if you're going to be doing something like following Chris's coaching and creating high level masterminds, then creating something where you actually have a list of really good leads would be beneficial, right? So a summit would probably be really good. And you actually gear the summit, you work backwards from whatever the high level mastermind is going to be, and you gear the summit around it. So, and it's not uncommon to sell your coaching packages directly from a summit. So you could recoup the cost, time, energy, effort of building one simply in the summit itself, right? Because we create those opportunities. But the list build that you can create from having a summit is a phenomenal warm lead base. You don't even need to run ads if you don't want to. The only thing you have to do incredibly well is spend the time, energy, effort on finding, booking, and using the right experts. Yes. The wrong experts can tank a summit.
It's so true.
So, right. And you have to know them. Like before, I mean, this is a little meta, but before I asked Chris to be on my summit, Chris was on my podcast. We had already had a 15-minute call prior to that, so I got to know Chris that way. Then we had the summit, the interview for the podcast, which we were on for like an hour talking, and just like, it was great. At the end of that, I was like, I need to have you on, and I asked you like right in there. I was like, I think you'd be a perfect fit, and bam, we got on to have you on the summit, which I think is great.
And on that note, and Bethany, I see you there.
Hi, Bethany.
On that note, I felt like as the recipient of that approach, I felt good about that.
Oh, good.
Because I mean, you get invited to speak on things all the time, and as like that sounds, and so do I, because I'm so freaking awesome,
right? Like,
but when you're out there speaking on a bunch of platforms, it gets it's just like getting spammed. It's like getting spammed for
all the time.
You actually took time to get to know us and our team, and back and forth with Lucy. I know Lucy's emailed you guys.
Who she's lovely, by the way.
Oh, she's amazing, right? So it didn't make us feel like icky. You're trying to steal our audience. It made us feel like, no, these are cool people. Like I want to do stuff with these people. I just wish the summit was in person. Like
right.
It's so cool. So anyway, well done. Like you didn't make it weird because you didn't walk into a bar and ask for a vacation. You just walked into a bar and said, hey, let's hang out. And that's so awesome.
Tell me more about you. Tell me how to, what makes you happy? What makes you tick? What frustrates you? The biggest thing that's going to create connection in your list is, and I don't want to swear, but it's giving an S. Like it's actually caring about the other person.
Yeah, care about it for real.
Yeah, and not treating them like an email address and a number in your email marketing system, which drives me crazy. I built a 6-figure business on 356 email addresses, which are real people who gave a real crap about what I was doing.
But that's all it takes. It doesn't take a
Yeah.
huge audience. It just takes real.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't have I'm going to admit, I do not have a massive list, and I'm a list building expert. And the reason I don't have a massive list is, first of all, I cull my list very actively. So if people aren't, if people are unsubscribing, I remove them. If they're not interested and they're making choices where it shows they're not interested, then no problem. I let them go in grace, right? I'm constantly trying to build a list that is focused and completely niched. So I can run a multi six-figure business off of a very tuned in, not so huge list. And I love that.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, Bethany's question. When you offer to book a call, and I know we're going over here. Are you cool for a few more minutes, Jennie?
Yeah, I'm good.
When you offer to book a call, what's the content of your call? And let's frame this up. So I think we should answer that. And Bethany, you're welcome to clarify. If you offer to book a call on an email, or if you offer to book a call at the end of a summit or during a summit, those are different approaches depending on the relational strength, how much time they spent with you. Or if you're offering to book a call like in a direct message on LinkedIn or Facebook or something like that. So
there's two ways that I do these calls. And I'll preface this by saying, and thank you, Bethany, it's a great question. One, I'm really good at sales calls. So I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just going to speak out of, the ether on this. I actually have a track record of having an 80% close rate.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So give me your leads and I will close them. That's my, I have a history. I used to work for Costco Wholesale and I used to sell Costco memberships by the phone. So good luck getting on a phone call with me and not buying one. That's just what I'm going to say. Okay.
I'm so scared now.
All right. So like my little soapbox is over, but the content of the call, there's two different types of calls. One is an exploratory call. Basically, we don't call it that, but it's an exploratory call. And it's basically to find out where they are in their journey and to see where there may be a fit, if not now, where in the future, right? And what you actually might be doing with that call is prepping them to potentially work with you later. So and those people, by the way, even if you make no offer, those people can become your raving fans and they can help you find clients. So every call is an opportunity in that way. So on those calls, I don't pitch 90% of the time. I ask clarifying questions. I ask real questions about just where they are in their business, and I give them some support. Here's two things that I think you could do that could make a difference in your business. And if you need more help with that, let me know and we can look at a way to work together. And if that makes sense to you, great. And if not, I'm happy to know you. And that's my first one.
Okay.
The second call, there's a more direct call to action. And that's after we've established some relationship together. So that's after, if it's on a 5-day challenge, that's the call I offer on day 5, right? I've built some rapport. There's some like and trust that's been built. I've gotten to know you a little bit. I kind of understand where you're at, even if it's, on just a light level. I also use this secondary call in my email sequences and also off the back end of my summits. This is a completely clear, look, I'm here to support you. I've got something that I think will work. Let's see if it's a fit. Let's just jump on a call and talk, right? And it's not a harsh sales call. I'll have them fill out 4 or 5 questions on a form. Where are you at? What are the problems you're experiencing? Have you ever worked with anybody before on this? And what does that look like for you? Is there anything else you want me to know? That's it. That's all I want to know.
Nice.
Jump on a call. I already have a little bit of background. By the way, I've also done some light stalking. So I've looked at their website, their socials, things like that. And I just asked them 2 minutes. What's the biggest problem that you're currently facing? What kind of support do you need? And how could I best support you in this? Literally ask them, because if you assume they've got on a call so that you can sell them, it's not a good way to come at it.
Right.
Let you be the gravitational force that pulls people towards you and let them tell you what they need and then see if it's a fit. Does that make sense?
It does to me. Yeah. Bethany, I hope that helps. That's
and please let me know, Bethany, pop it in the comments and let me know if that is something that is helpful to you at all.
Yeah. Bethany, my take on that, just since I love selling as well. I love selling. Oh my gosh.
Isn't it? But because selling's not selling.
Because it's not selling. I'm an introvert, and this is
what
folks,
you are.
Y'all see me here all the time. This is as excited as I get.
You're an introvert. I would never have known.
I hide in a padded cell all day. But selling to me has become, once I learned how to do it in a way that was actually comfortable to me, it's just become helping. And I tell people, Bethany, on our calls, if you're going to jump on a call with me or one of my team members, we have one of three objectives. Any of the three are totally cool. Yeah, great, she says. Awesome. So glad, Bethany. One of three objectives. I want to be able to, like, me or somebody else on our team, if we can help you, we got 30 minutes on a call. If we can help you in that call and help you crack the code right then and just like done, yay you. Like, we don't need to spend months together, right? Number two, if we don't know what in the world to do to help you, I promise you we know somebody else. We're connected to a lot of people, a lot of experts. I know who to send you to. Tell me what's going on if we can't help you. And third, if you're like, hey, this is deep, I want to go somewhere with this, I want to make this really work, and one of our offerings, programs, whatever works for you, then I'll bring it up if you're a good fit and we'll talk it out. No mystery. We like tell everybody that before they jump on a sales call with us, because like, I'm not there to have a coffee chat. You're busy, I'm busy. Let's actually solve a problem. And there's three ways we can do that. And any of the ways are totally great.
And it comes also from your attitude. So you don't come off. I literally had a call last week where somebody hid a sales call in the guise of getting to know me. So I'll do coffee chats. I love getting to know people. I love having, because I'm the same as you. Oh, you need a photographer? I literally just met somebody last week who would be a great photographer, and they blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm that kind of person, right? The connecting kind of person, which is, I think, is so much fun.
Yes.
But somebody tried to have a call with me last week where they disguised the sales call in a coffee chat. And they tried to sell me into appearing on this like Facebook group where I would have to pay to get access to their online Rolodex kind of thing. And the price wasn't cheap. And I was like, did you just do that? Really? Like, because they didn't, when they got on the call, they didn't even show that they knew me. First of all, they didn't check me out. I did all the checking out. They didn't check me out. They had no idea that I had a podcast. They were trying to sell me on a product, like being in their Facebook group.
Just a number.
It's just a number. Just a number. And I said, how many calls do you have today to this person? And he's like, I have 11. Oh. I have 11 calls. I said, are they all like this? He goes, yeah. I said, so you have 11 sales calls? And he goes, yeah. I said, I didn't think this was a sales call.
Oops. Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a lot of ways, Bethany, and I'm glad that you got value from that. There was somebody who asked, will this model work for the software that I'm promoting?
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. Yeah, that's a great question.
Which software are they? So do we have an idea what the software is?
JL, that's your question. So if you're promoting a software, could you run it through a summit? I mean,
absolutely. I've done summits for SaaS. Absolutely.
Yeah. Bring in a bunch of other experts around the topic you're talking about that don't have the software you're providing, obviously.
Correct.
But that have the other ancillary pieces to that, and have a big mastermind conversation around here's all the awesome stuff we can do for this market. And then you can offer and we have a tool that makes all this work so easy, Absolutely.
I mean, if you look at the big SaaS companies, they all run summits. All of them do. They title them a little differently. They do them a little differently, but they all run summits because
at its core, it's a summit. Yeah.
Yep. At the core, it's a summit. You can call whatever name you want. There's, I've produced over 350 summits. They all have different names, but in the core, they're a summit, and they all have that one goal of pulling in, potential clients. The best way to do it, if you're going to have people who are also potentially like not your software, but other things, is to give people either an affiliate for selling VIPs, which you can sell off the back end of your event, during your event, and or a rev share model. So if you're going to have experts and it's for a software company, and let's just say your package for your software company is trying to sell that yearly package versus the monthly, then you could say, it doesn't matter how many I sell, or how many people are registered, you will get a percentage of whatever I sell off the back end of the event. So basically that's a way of paying your speakers without paying your speakers.
Yep.
So that works really, really well too. Or just a 40% commission on any sales that come from that expert's affiliate link. Either way works. The rev share model is getting a lot more traction right now. Yep. So there's that, and it's a highly encouraging model to use. So there's that opportunity.
I like that as a speaker. I like that model. Typically, the things that I speak at are rev share models. I like that model because it's clean. It's motivating for me to want to bring people who I know are right for that product or service. It's also super easy and clean. I don't have to think about it, and I don't have to hammer people over the head with my link, not that person's link, my link. Like we all get to all the speakers get to just play on the same team. Be like, hey, look, we're all just trying to move the ball down the same field.
Absolutely. And that's a key motivator for a lot of people. It's like not having that competition. I'm not huge on competition, although get me out playing a competitive sport and I'll try and kick your butt. But in this world, I'm not as, outwardly competitive. I just want everybody to succeed. Mm-hmm. And the rev share model helps make that happen.
I love that. Jennie, you've been kind to give us at this point 14 minutes more than you should have. Thank you.
Considering I was late.
Oh, nobody had to know that, Jennie.
Well, I'm honest. I don't mind being honest. I was late, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. It's all good. Oh, I'm just hanging out here, bouncing around the padded room. I got nothing else to do.
Right.
So
except for that nasty text you sent me. Oh, what's wrong with you, Chris? Joking, by the way. He did not send the nasty text.
Thanks for hanging out with us so long. Thanks for answering questions. When is your summit?
My summit is coming up on July 19th. You are one of our featured experts. I'm so excited about that. So it's a 3-day event. It's all virtual. It's all online. And there's going to be some live panels. So there's going to be panels each day with some of the experts. Hopefully, if Chris has the time, he'll be there too.
I will.
So yeah, and registration opens up next week. I'm really excited. I wish I had the link ready for everybody, but it opens up next week. So if you're interested in that, drop a yes or an interested or something in the
tell us
your
interested down below. We'll get you a link.
And we'll get you a link for that.
Top secret right now. You can't see the link yet. What's Jennie's company?
So I work under the umbrella of a company called Management. So it's manage and then MEANT. But you can find me at JennieWright.com.
JennieWright.com. And for those of you listening and not looking, it's actually spelled JennieWright.com. JennieWright.com. Jennie, I could not get my own name with a .com. I'm so impressed. Like, did you get that 15 years ago?
No, 10 years ago. And the only other person that I had to worry about is there's an actress who has the name Jennie Wright, but did not have JennieWright.com. I don't know how I got it.
PR agents should get fired for that one.
Right. And I've sold the URL. I sold the URL a couple of years ago for like high 5 figures. Because the company that wanted it was like, we couldn't get this URL and you've been sitting on this URL. And I'm like, yeah, for like 8 years. So if you'd like it, it's going to cost you. And it was for a record company bought it.
Oh, wow. Cool. So you sold JennieWright.com?
No, I own JennieWright.com.
Okay.
But when I first started the business 10 years ago, I bought other URLs thinking this would be a really cool URL to use in the future.
Gotcha.
Right. And my business partner, and also my partner, basically my husband, we bought all these URLs together. And then he was like, I'm going to build a podcast on this URL. And he started like working on the socials and stuff. And this record company said, we really want that URL. We'll offer you $400. And he's like, I paid basically $400 for it because it was a really good URL. And then my partner's like, this is what I want for it. And they said, nah, and they were going to walk away. And he said, whatever. And then we said, okay, how about this amount? And it was it was pretty high up there in the 5 figures. And they said, yeah, okay, we'll take it. And they paid us for it.
That's awesome.
It was great. It was awesome. Yeah. It was a great way because, when the pandemic hit, things were kind of a little tight and crazy.
They were there for a minute, right?
They were. Yeah. And that sale of that URL was like this thing that kind of like got us
some win in the sales.
Yeah, a little bit. So it was nice to meet you guys. Everybody that was watching this and listening.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the opportunity.
And as always, if you have more questions, if you're catching the replay, because most folks aren't watching live, so you catch the replay. If you got questions, as always, you guys just fire away your questions in the chat. If you're watching YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, I think that's where we're shooting this out to today. Or if you're over on the podcast side, just drop us a line and tag Jennie or me, so one of us or our team members can like totally answer your question, because we're here to like you can do this. You guys can do this. This is not rocket science. We always say do work, get results around here, Jennie, but we just want people to do the right work. Just don't go off on a tangent doing the wrong work. And that's why we have experts coming here. Jennie's got your back. Cool. It's good to see everybody. Jennie, thank you again. Everybody go to JennieWright.com, check it out there. And once your new event that's coming up gets once we're allowed to see the page, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about getting people there. We will drop the link here.
Thank you. All right. Great to be here. I really appreciate it. And, happy to answer any questions that might come up afterwards. So thanks.
So great to have you too, Jennie. Thanks again for your time. And as everybody knows, do the work, get the results. Follow Jennie's advice. Just do the right work. Okay, guys, JennieWright.com is the place for this one. All the best.